Happy Friday, OPID staff and families. Thank you for another great week. I was able to make it to a few classes this week, and it was great to see all of the wonderful engagement and excited kids. This week, OPA also started our afternoon enrichment classes. OPA students now have so many different options for fun, unique, and interactive classes each week. I know that this start to the year was unlike any other, but I truly want to thank everyone for making it a success. As many of you may have heard, Orange County was recently moved to the red tier on the governor's new tracking system. This means that there are less restrictions on some businesses. It also means that if Orange County remains in the red tier for 2 weeks, schools can start to plan to reopen for in-person instruction without a waiver. Schools will still have to adhere to all state and local guidelines. However, so most schools are planning some type of hybrid learning model. Last night at our Board of Directors meeting, I presented information about our hybrid learning model, as well as our possible reopening timelines, and I would like to share with you a brief recap of that presentation for those of you who are not able to make it to our board meeting. So again, the new state tracking system categorizes different counties based on different colors. So purple, where Orange County was before September 8th, didn't allow for school reopening. However, on September 8th, we were moved to the red tier. And in the red tier, schools, after 14 consecutive days of being in the red tier, schools can begin to make some plans for reopening. So as we look at OPA's plans for reopening, that 2-week deadline that Orange County will have to remain in the red tier will end on September 22nd. So if the OC remains in that red tier, schools can plan again to reopen without a waiver. So what OPA has been looking at and what we've said kind of throughout this reopening time is that we are going to look for sort of a natural break with a day or two off beforehand so that we can make sure that families have time to get ready, as well as our staff and our teachers have time to get ready for bringing students back on campus. So our first date that we're going to be looking at is October 5th. And that would mean that we could possibly reopen right after our parent-teacher conferences if the numbers and positivity rate decreases. We again want to make sure that we are really taking into account the health and safety of our staff and our students and our families before we reopen. And most of our surrounding, Orange County districts are also looking at those same things. So then if on October 5th, the numbers or positivity increase or remain steady after looking at the data from Labor Day, as well as some of the other reopening, we will wait a little bit so that we can make sure that the data shows that that the numbers are going to decrease and that it is safe to reopen. So then our next date that we would be looking at would be November 3rd. And that's because we have a professional development date that's already built into the calendar on November 2nd. And so if the numbers and positivity rate decrease and Orange County stays in the red, then we could also look at a possible reopening of the hybrid model on November 3rd, 2020. So kind of looking at what the current statistics are now in Orange County, there's 5.2 cases per 100,000. And these numbers are as of yesterday. And then a 4.2 positivity rate, or 4.2% positivity rate. When we surveyed everyone just over the last couple of weeks and had parents make a selection of what model they thought they would want for their students when and if we are able to reopen in person, we had about 57% of families say that they did want to return to in-person instruction in the hybrid model, and about 43% that said that they really felt that they wanted to, or that they wanted to have their students stay in virtual learning. Again, whenever we're looking at reopening, we keep making sure that we're following our guiding principles, student and staff safety, continuity of instruction, high quality learning experiences, equity and access, access to school-based mental health resources, communicating with all of our stakeholders, maintaining fiscal solvency, and then probably the most important, but being able to be flexible and adaptable, because we all know that new information, new guidelines, and new health issues arise on a pretty much constant basis. So we need to, again, make sure that we're able to remain flexible. Our reopening models would be for some of our students to attend some classes during the day. So they would come to school for about 2.75 hours, Monday through Thursday. That allows for 15 minutes for health and safety checks and drop off and things like that. Then they would have virtual instruction for Friday small groups, also PE, music, and foreign language, and then asynchronous activities, at least or around 1 hour per day. Virtual students would again remain in the virtual environment. They would attend classes, same type of thing, AM or PM cohorts for about 2.75 hours a day, and then the rest of their classes virtual, asynchronous activities. We do understand that there are going to be a need for temporary absences due to just regular illnesses or things involving quarantine, or students who are ill or on vacation. So if possible, we would like students to still sort of switch temporarily if they're absent to that virtual model. If not, then definitely we would provide work for them to make up if they're ill. But if they're able to, still attend classes virtually, and then once they're able to go back to the hybrid model, they can go back to the hybrid model. So just again, this slide was the same as the one that was in the video last week, just kind of describing what that hybrid learning looks like, an AM/PM cohort. We will again try to place siblings in the same cohort, but other scheduling, we can't take scheduling requests, because we need to be fair to all of our parents, and make sure that everybody has an equal chance of getting into either cohort. And then students during the day when they are on campus, they will have to stay in the classroom except for restroom breaks for health and safety reasons. Again, we'll have temperature checks and health screenings each day when students arrive. And if students do want to stay on campus when they're not in these COVID or in these cohort in-campus learning environments, they can participate in either the YMCA or the Boys and Girls Club programs that we have on each campus. Oops. So then this shows a little bit about what virtual learning will look like. It's going to look very similar to what the hybrid schedule is. It's just that instead of being in person, the students will live stream in to Zoom classes. So again, in order to ensure that parents have ample time to plan, we really want to be able to let parents know as soon as possible with their cohort, with which cohort their student will be placed in. We'll definitely let parents know at least a week before in-person instruction begins, but we will try to do that sooner if possible. Siblings will be placed in the same cohort. We will have school lunches available for either grab and go, or students can eat their lunch at the lunch tables before leaving school, going to childcare, or if they're in the afternoon cohort, before starting their classes. And then if we do have any staff or students exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms, they will need to be sent home for at least 10 days following the onset of symptoms. And that's really per California Department of Public Health guidelines, which we do follow. So again, I want to thank you all for your support. We'll continue to update you with new information as it comes available. And I really want to thank everyone for your patience and for your dedication. And I want to give a shout out to all of our incredible OPA teachers, administrators, and support staff for really working so hard to ensure that all of our students are engaged, supported, educated, and even pretty entertained while we try to navigate providing a top quality education through Zoom. Please stay safe and have an enjoyable weekend. Thank you, OPA families.